What if you could control time? Where would you go? When would you go? And most importantly, what would you change? It is time to rewrite Belleflore's past in order to save its future.
It's not that dramatic, really. We're just adding a new ride to an old area.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case...
Hello everyone, I am Yan, your favorite friendly Frenchman, and welcome back to Belleflore, where in the last episode we started the new American area, Wild Water, with a custom-supported GCI Woody. We're not continuing that area, not today at least, so do subscribe to see what's coming in the next episode. But for now, we're doing a time-traveling interlude to change the past. We're adding a dark ride to the park's original area, Vapeur-sur-Rail. Those of you who have downloaded the last episode's version of the park might have noticed what triggered this choice. I'd already replaced the old spot where the Zamperla nebulas used to sit with a little bandstand. This is a way better fit as the space here was a tight squeeze for such a flat ride, and now at least we have Belleflore's first show venue. On regular days, musicians would come here to play French classics every hour like Edith Piaf or Charles Aznavour, and for fan events this is where they would reveal new additions planned for the park's future. I've even made sure the seating could be covered in case of rain or sunny weather, and some kind people over on Bro Nation helped me have a believable speaker setup because I quite frankly know nothing about that and it's okay to ask for help at times. But something you might have been wondering so far is that the area seems really closed off already, so how could I add more to this area? Well, in my original plans the area was going to have another pathway where the bistro currently sits, but I couldn't make it on console, and thankfully I don't have to worry about that anymore. I've taken a full day to move the restaurant on the side to free that space like I originally intended to do while planning the park a year ago. There's nothing much that has changed within the restaurant honestly, beside the fact that you now have only the one ramp leading up to the terrace. The name has also now been changed to Bistro Chez Hugo, which is yet another shout out to one of my real life friends. Finally, we have new ride photos added to the picture frames on the inside, and it's crazy to think how far we've come since episode 2 when I first made this building. Back then we only had the tier of Force in the park, and now we have 5 different coasters with a handful more to come very soon. Continuing down that path, next to the restaurant we can find the new location for the Zamperla Nebula's Machine à Vapeur. The main thing I disliked with the previous plot it was in was that its queue had to be super short, so now I've made sure it was appropriately sized. Speaking of the queue, I've started to add something new to the entrance of the park's rides now. This little ride info board with their number on the park map in a colored circle representing the land they're in, the height restrictions reflected on the actual height check, and a small description of the ride in French, as we're building a French park after all. But now it's time to introduce you to our main event, Belleflore's new dark ride, Le Contrôle-Temps, a name that a good portion of my audience will not be able to pronounce, so between us let's call it the Time Controller. This ride was built where a 4D cinema once sat before the 2025 retheme of the area, and the flats location next to it used to be an arcade, and yes, I know the irony of not making an arcade even though they've just come out a couple of weeks ago. Both rides are linked by the steampunk contraption theme, and that's because they've been built by the same person, Margot de Belleflore, another character named after one of my friends. Margot is the boss of the railway customs of Vapeur-sur-Rail, where various unconventional artifacts arrive and depart every day, but she's also this genius tinkerer coming up with crazy machines in her spare time. Let's join the queue and see what's going on here. For starters, it seems that this contraption outside is a generator giving power to something inside the warehouse, and it's alive thanks to animated wires that I've made, which were definitely inspired by Epic Universe's Monsters Unchained ride. Once we come out of the initial cattle pen underneath those wires, we go up a ramp that leads us to the platform where deliveries are being made, where you'll see a lot of Easter eggs for people who have donated while I was building this project on stream. Thank you for your generosity once again. We're just about to enter the door for arrivals until we see that the customs is closed for the day as Margot welcomes the Tamponauts who are expected in our office for the briefing. And that's us, we're the Tamponauts, so let's step inside the warehouse. There There are a ton of artifacts stored in there, and my inspiration for it was this massive warehouse in Raiders of the Lost Ark at the end of the movie where many strange things would be stored. The only rule of this place: do not store anachronic artifacts here. They belong in their timelines. A bit of a strange warning, but okay. We've now made our way to Margot's office, and it actually looks like she turned it into a lab where she's made a ton of crazy machines. The blackboard is here to explain to us what we're about to do. We are to track down the lineage of the Belleflore family to learn their history. We're going to do that thanks to a mysterious artifact called the Time Controller, which Margot used to make a time machine. In order to stay safe, we'll be boarding a space-time shell which has been duplicated endlessly through a paradox in time, a time loop if you will. This is maintained by the quantum computer and the control room right outside of the room where the temporal flux loops thanks to the time machine. And my Tamponaut friends, I think it's time you track down the lineage of the Belleflore family through the centuries. I give you le Contrôle-Temps, a Sansei Omnimover Dark Ride. Welcome back to the present, my friends. How was your trip through space and time? It's time to break the magic a little bit to see how the sausages are made and break down the story. First of all, you will have noticed that both stations have moving walkways like you would see in real life, and this is made thanks to a second Omnimover hidden underneath the ride, which is made specifically for that purpose. Once we leave the station, we're transported through the first of many spinning tunnels which act as wormholes through space and time. A very intentional detail is that they spin counterclockwise when you go back in time and clockwise when you go forward in time. This portal leads us to the Domus Belleflore scene in ancient Rome, which interestingly enough means War of the Flowers in Latin, and that therefore creates a lot of interesting lore on where the Belleflore family name comes from. On top of that, I've used forced perspective to make a Colosseum and a small cart to create visual interest through the gate leading to the house, which was really made as a small interpretation of a typical Roman villa where you will see the time controller being present, which is a running theme throughout the ride. The things you will hopefully not notice while on the ride is that every scene is linked through emergency exits and has got lighting rigs on the ceiling, including service lights for our team to work on the scenery when it's closed to the public. After that, we jump through time to old Scandinavia at the foot of a mountain with a village perched atop it. This is to add a second branch of the family tree, which will one day move to another country to meet the Latin roots of the Belleflores. For that, we get to a mystical forest with a callback to the trolls you briefly see while on Fiskersang, all the way over in Fiskish Houston, where we play into the magic part of the Norse culture to include the time controller once more. Now the portal leads us to medieval Camelot, which is taking creative liberties on how the two ancestors met, just to tie into the upcoming 2027 expansion of the park to the Belleflore family history. The Latin ancestor was a knight of the Round Table who met the Viking invader, and thus the Belleflore family was born through the words of the king. Speaking of the king, you can see Excalibur and the crown on the throne, as well as the time controller, which seems to always influence events here. The next scene will lead us to more familiar times and grounds. We're now at the Belleflore Manor in 1608, where Richard de Belleflore is sculpting the statue of his wife that will one day be overlooking the park from the Belvedere. This is also where the time controller seems to malfunction and transports us unwillingly to an unplanned time and space, the Old West, where bandits seem to have stolen the artifact, but it refuses to function for them. Fortunately, we end up not being stranded here, and we're saved by a great-grandson of Margot who has figured out a safe way to harness the artifact and save us from a timeline we don't belong in. Thanks to him, we're able to have a beautiful view of Jupiter outside the window and are brought back to 2026 thanks to his new and improved version of the time machine. Finally, we get to the offload station where the temporal beacon allows the vehicles to go back to the paradox point from earlier today, creating the time loop that duplicates the space-time shells we were traveling in. What an adventure we've been through today. I truly love this new dark ride, and of course I've enclosed it all into a big show building, which for now is not linked to any backstage road or anything. That's because I plan to do a massive backstage episode toward the end of the series. It's also the opportunity to tell you that I've updated the show building of Choo Choo, the tier of Force custom, so that it's up to the standard I set with Fiskersang back in episode 7. That way the park feels cohesive. And voila! The park's very first area truly feels complete now, and having our first dark ride truly elevates the lineup of Belleflore, and it's not going to be the last. In the next episode though, we'll be going back to Wildwater, our American area, to add a proper water ride to the park and a family thrill coaster, so make sure to subscribe in order not to miss that, and if you've enjoyed this episode, do leave a like as it goes a long way to support my work. You'll be able to download this version of the park as soon as this video goes live thanks to this share code. I really recommend walking around in first person as it is the best way to experience everything I've done in this park. If you appreciate my hard work, consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel supporter to get sneak peeks at what I'm working on, and you can even become a VIP supporter to get early access to POVs and chat with me daily about my progress in the VIP chat. You can see all of the legends who joined already within the park, and if you'd like to join the fun, the link is in the description, where you'll also find the link to join my Discord server. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Yan, your favorite friendly Frenchman, and as always, you've been awesome, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.